Imagine the scene: a moonless night in the Caribbean, early 18th century. A merchant ship, heavy with cargo, is suddenly confronted by a terrifying apparition. A giant of a man, his face obscured by a wild black beard that seems to be literally smoking, leaps aboard. He has multiple pistols strapped across his chest, his eyes burn with a demonic fury, and smoke curls up from beneath his hat. This was not a demon from hell. This was Edward Teach, the man history would remember as Blackbeard. But the smoke, the pistols, the terrifying image, it wasn't madness. It was marketing. Why did the most famous pirate in history set his own beard on fire? The answer wasn't insanity. It was the secret code of fear. To understand the brand, we must first understand the man. Before the terrifying legend, there was Edward Teach, likely an Englishman who may have served as a privateer during Queen Anne's War. When the war ended, thousands of sailors like Teach were left unemployed. For many, piracy wasn't just a choice, it was the only option left. Teach joined the crew of the famous pirate captain Benjamin Hornigold, learning the trade in the pirate haven of Nassau. He was described as intelligent, charismatic, and a capable sailor. Nassau, on the island of New Providence in the Bahamas, was the heart of the golden age of piracy. It was a lawless republic, a place where pirates like Teach could repair their ships, sell their loot, and plot their next move, far from the reach of the Royal Navy. Under Hornigold, Teach learned the routes, the tactics, and crucially, the politics of piracy. He saw how reputation could be as valuable as cannons, and how a fearsome name could make the job infinitely easier. But he was just one pirate among hundreds. He needed something more. When Hornigold retired, Teach took command of his own ship. A captured French slaver, he renamed the Queen Anne's Revenge. He now had the vessel. Next, he needed a reputation. He understood the economics of piracy better than anyone. A real fight was bad for business. It risked damage to the ship, injury to the crew, and loss of valuable cargo. The most profitable piracy was the kind where the victims surrendered without a fight. How do you achieve that? You don't just become a pirate. You become the idea of the pirate, the embodiment of pure, unadulterated terror. This was his code, psychological warfare. He would make his name so feared that the mere sight of his flag would be enough to make sailors abandon all hope. So, he began to meticulously craft his demonic brand. The centerpiece was his magnificent black beard, which he grew long and braided into imposing plaits, sometimes tying them with ribbons. Before battle, he would strap multiple pistols, often 6 or more, across his chest in bandoliers, appearing as a walking arsenal. But the masterstroke, the detail that would cement his legend, was the fire. He would take slow matches, lengths of cord soaked in saltpeter and dried, which burned slowly, and tuck them under his hat or weave them directly into his beard. He would light them just before boarding a ship. The thick, acrid smoke pouring from his face, combined with his immense size and fearsome appearance, made him look like a devil emerging from the smoke of hell itself. It was pure theater, designed to break the enemy's will before a single shot was fired. This theatricality extended to his flag. While many pirates used variations of the skull and crossbones, Blackbeard's flag was uniquely terrifying. It depicted a skeleton holding an hourglass in one hand and spearing a bleeding heart with the other. The message was clear and brutal: your time is up, and resistance means death. This flag, combined with his personal appearance, created an instant shock and awe effect that paralyzed his victims with fear. And it worked. Blackbeard's reputation spread like wildfire. Merchant crews, hearing the stories, seeing the smoke and the pistols, often surrendered immediately upon seeing his flag. He cultivated this image relentlessly. He rarely had to actually use extreme violence because the threat of violence, amplified by his demonic persona, was usually enough. He captured ship after ship, building a small flotilla and becoming one of the most successful pirates of the Golden Age. His code of fear was paying dividends. His most audacious act came in May 1718, when he blockaded the major port of Charleston, South Carolina. With just his flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, and a few smaller sloops, he held the entire colony hostage. He didn't demand gold or jewels. His demand was bizarrely specific: a chest of medicine, likely to treat syphilis, which was rampant among his crew. The blockade was a masterstroke of psychological pressure. For nearly a week, no ships could enter or leave Charleston Harbor. Trade ground to a halt. Panic spread through the city. Blackbeard sent captured citizens ashore to deliver his demands, ensuring the terror was felt directly by the colony's leaders. He wasn't just attacking ships, he was attacking the colony's sense of security and control. The fact that his demand was for medicine, not gold, added another layer of unpredictability and fear. What kind of pirate holds a city hostage for drugs? Finally, they met his demands. Blackbeard had proven that his brand, his reputation for terror, was powerful enough to paralyze an entire government without firing a shot. It was the peak of his power, achieved not through brute force, but through masterful psychological manipulation. But such a fearsome reputation inevitably attracts attention. The governors of Virginia and North Carolina, tired of his reign of terror, secretly organized an expedition to hunt him down. Lieutenant Robert Maynard of the Royal Navy cornered Blackbeard at Ocracoke Inlet. This time, there would be no surrender. Blackbeard, perhaps overconfident, perhaps simply cornered, chose to fight. The battle was brutal and bloody, fought hand-to-hand on the deck of Maynard's ship. Blackbeard fought like the demon he portrayed himself to be. According to Maynard's own report, the pirate endured an incredible amount of punishment, reportedly shot 5 times and cut at least 20 times before he finally fell. His death was as legendary as his life. Even after being mortally wounded, stories claim he continued to fight, reloading his pistols until he finally collapsed. His resilience in battle only added to his terrifying mythos. Maynard, wanting to definitively end a legend, decapitated him. The headless body was thrown overboard, and legend says it swam around the ship several times before sinking, a final ghostly act of defiance. To ensure the legend was truly dead, Maynard decapitated him and hung his head from the bowsprit of his ship as a gruesome trophy and a warning to other pirates. The man was gone, but the brand was immortal. Blackbeard's true legacy wasn't buried treasure, it was the power of image. He was a master of psychological warfare, a pirate who understood that fear could be crafted, cultivated, and wielded as a weapon more effective than any cannon. He set his beard on fire not because he was mad, but because he was a brilliant, terrifying marketer. And that is the architecture of the fear of Blackbeard. Remember, history is more than a story. It's a code. And there is always another layer to decrypt. Subscribe and continue the investigation with us.